Yo, what's going on, everybody? It is 1 p.m. here in Crystal Lake, Illinois. That means it's time for another live stream. Today is Tuesday, August 8th, 2023. Woo! Guys, I went for a run this morning, and I was feeling really good about it. I wasn't quite sure how I was going to feel. I took a day off yesterday because of all the travel. But today, weather wasn't too bad. Nice and sunny. I forgot sunscreen, so I'm a little bit tanner than I'd like to be today, but I did get a little bit of sun, but hopefully it'll be all right overall. And temperatures were nice and balmy. And I explored a new road that I'd never run before. I just took kind of like an offshoot from my normal path. There's a long road that ends in a big hill, and I was like, I'm going to try it today. I didn't charge up the hill. I went nice and slow. Same easy effort the whole way, but it was just kind of nice to do something else. It was a lot busier car-wise than I was thinking, though, but otherwise it was nice and pleasant. And so it was a nice way to add on like a good maybe less than 2 miles onto the run, maybe a mile and a half extra, which was a nice little kind of bonus, if you will. Everyone that's listening on the audio-only version on the podcast, hopefully you are having a good run right now as well. Or if you are driving, hopefully it's nice and balmy for you. Maybe it's even windows down driving weather. Maybe. Although I do think for a lot of you guys, it's still really, really hot wherever it is where you live. For everyone watching this later but not live, welcome to the number one place to watch a guy try Skratch products live. And you'll get his honest feedback in the moment. Because you know what? When it comes to like tasting stuff, I don't have much of a poker face. So that's what we got today. Skratch sent a box of stuff. I think I know what it is. I'm pretty excited about it. And we'll get to it in just a little bit. But first, let's see who we got here in the chat. Tony Macias is here. What's going on, Tony? He says, catching this one live. And it's company for the treadmill. Nice. Hopefully you're getting a good run in today. And Matcha says, I love when I catch the audio-only podcast. It's great running audio. Yeah, I hope it is. I don't listen to it personally on my run because I'm here live. I've lived it once, and I don't know that I'd want to live it twice. But I do like listening to podcasts on my run. Today, I listened to, you guys were asking me about it yesterday, but I listened to it today, Robbie's interview of Dr. Phil Maffetone. And that took up pretty much the entire run that I had planned for today. And I felt like it was interesting. I didn't know that it was I didn't know that he had a musical career at all. So that was all a surprise for me. And I don't know, I found that whole section very confusing and difficult for me. Not difficult, but it was just like dissonant. You know what I mean? Because I have an idea of this guy in my head. And, you know, it made very much sense. And it also didn't make a lot of sense, too. And then overall, you know, I felt like it was kind of exactly what I was expecting otherwise the conversation to be. I know some of you guys didn't like it. I mean, not that the conversation or the interview was bad, but it wasn't. Yeah, he can be polarizing. I understand that. I can see that. All right. Let's see who else we got here in the chat. John Nichols says, the Maffetones sounds like a ska band. It could be. Or, you know, like Brian Setzer Orchestra kind of sound, you know. That's what I think. All right. Let's see. Soul254 says, been able to watch since visiting for the summer. At the airport waiting to fly back to Korea. Number one podcast to listen to while waiting to board a plane back to South Korea. There you go. That's the truth. That's the absolute truth. That's not coming from me, you know. So it's got to be true. And Ray Martin says, I didn't make it to that podcast with Robbie and Dr. Maffetone. Yeah, you know, I think I don't know how it worked out, but I have a feeling of how the conversation worked out in terms of like, you know, sometimes it's like Thomas and Megan that do the interview. Sometimes it's Thomas and Robbie. You know, this one was a Robbie solo, and I don't know that Thomas is a low heart rate guy, so it was interesting. I felt maybe somewhat of a tell that it was a Robbie only episode. Maybe that's just the way the schedule worked out. Maybe I'm reading too much into it. All right. Sega Dreamcast says, what up, co-fam? Just finished a great physical therapy session. Not at all far from returning to running. That's great news. Awesome. All right. Let's see what else we got in the chat today. Lalo P says, tired today. Took my wife to the Taylor Swift concert last night, but I have a lot of workout later. That's quite the double. Taylor Swift and then a ladder workout. Oh man. Speaking of tough workouts, some news for the podcast this week. Tomorrow's going to be the last day for podcast for this week, because after the podcast tomorrow, I'm going to go back to the airport and I'm heading out. I kind of mentioned this yesterday, but now the plans have solidified. Tomorrow night, I'm going to be flying out to Denver, spending the night in Boulder again, because Thursday, I'm going to be spending the night with marathoner Lindsay Flanagan, kind of following her for a workout. I might film kind of a sweat elite kind of session. And then I'm also going to, I think, just kind of shadow her for a while during the day, get her mic'd up and kind of like see what happens. So like, she's going to be representing Team USA at Worlds in the marathon. So I'm going to do kind of like a preview story, a little bit about that, so everyone get to meet her a little bit more. I know you guys have seen her on the live stream. She played Name That Shoe with Sam Long when I was in Boulder about, I guess, a month and a half ago, maybe 2 months ago now. So I'll be spending the day with her. And then the following day, I'll be driving down to Colorado Springs to spend the day with Elkanah Kibet, who's also representing Team USA in the marathon. I got to interview him last year at Worlds because he was on Team USA for Worlds last year. And so it'll be good to see him again. I got to wave hi to him in Atlanta before the Peachtree Road Race, but I'll get to kind of see him in his hometown, in his home element. So that'll be really interesting. And this morning I just realized, because I'm so bad at geography, I have no idea these things. I actually have to because I'm gonna have to drive from Boulder to Colorado Springs. I didn't know that I had if you had made me guess, if there was a contest, which direction from Boulder is Colorado Springs, I would have lost the bet. I didn't know it was south. And I also didn't know that it's so close to Pikes Peak. So now I'm like, oh, you could drive up Pikes Peak. Maybe I should drive. But I also feel like Garden of the Gods is out there, right? So maybe I'll do, I don't know. The thing is, I'm going to be chasing these athletes around for their workouts. Hopefully their track workouts. Because otherwise, I don't know. I might have to borrow a bike or rent a bike if I can. Something like that. So I'm going to be very tired. I'm not going to really have the energy. But it seems like I've gone all the way over there. I got to go check it out. So I don't know. I don't know exactly what I'm going to do. Yeah. So that's going to be it. So that's Thursday and then Friday. And then I was going to take the red eye home, but I think the workout with Elkanah is going to be in the evening or late afternoon. So I'm going to take the first flight out Saturday morning from Colorado Springs. Go Ring with Us says, spending the night with Lindsay. Oh, if you don't mind. No, not spending the night. Clearly not. That would be inappropriate. But I'll just be spending the day with her. Did I say the night? I don't think I said the night. I just said the night. I must have said the night. Lala P says, I caught that too. I meant the day. And then that night I'm driving to Colorado Springs. So Mark Peterson's going to Boulder Thursday too. Where are you going to be in Boulder? I think Thursday is I'm leaving. Thursday's when I'm going to Colorado Springs. All right. David Zlotnick says, hi, I'm training for New York City. I use the Super Blast for most of my long runs, but wanted to know your thoughts on Mach 5 and Adios Pro 3 for long runs as well. Thanks. Realize they are quite different. They are quite different. The Mach 5 is a good, if you're just going to do long, easy runs, the Mach 5 is great. Adios Pro 3, I would say that's more of it's a racing shoe. And so I would probably reserve that for half marathon and marathon racing, or if you're doing your marathon workouts. For me, I'd be like, I love using the Adios Pro 3 for my threshold or mile repeats. Those kinds of workouts, I think that are really great for it, where I'll probably put in a total of about, 13 miles or so for the workout, and maybe 6 of those are at threshold effort, that kind of thing. I feel like that's a really great use for it. Let's say I'm doing it's getting closer to New York, I'm doing a 16 or 18 mile run, and a lot of that's at marathon effort. If I'm doing 8 to 10 miles marathon effort in that long run, the Adios Pro 3 would be a good choice. Super Blast would also be a really good choice. I might pick the Super Blast. But you're not going to go wrong with the Adios Pro 3 at longer runs, but it is a little bit more of aggressive of a shoe. So if it's kind of just long, slow, easy, I wouldn't pick the Adios Pro 3. It's not going to be bad, but it wouldn't be my favorite. Make sense? All right. Video says, do the Manitou incline. It would be a great video. Makes Flatlanders question life. What's the Manitou Incline? What's the one with all the stairs? That's in Colorado Springs, isn't it? I'm not sure. Paul Imes says, love running at Garden of the Gods. The images that I've seen look incredible. Here's the thing. My legs still hurt from Hut Run Hut. I've never been good at going upstairs. So like sometimes when I'm in the basement, I got to go all the way up to the second floor of the house. So that's 2 flights of stairs. And by the time I'm at the top right now, my legs are burning. So like I just don't know. I have no idea. Like my legs are wrecked. I haven't been going to the gym for like the past 2 weeks because I've been traveling a lot too, but I'm like, my legs are just so tired. I don't know what to do. I just feel like I need to recover more. Adam says that's the one though. It's only 2,000 feet in a mile. Only 2,000 feet in a mile. Manitou Incline is 2,000 feet in a mile. That's a lot. That's more than I experienced on the Hut Run Hut, I feel like. I don't feel like any of the climbs were a mile long. They might have been like 3/4 of a mile long. That was long enough. Yeah, I don't know. Video says I'm skipping leg day. I know I'm skipping leg day, but I'm doing all this vert. And so I'm burning the legs in a different way. Robert Krieger says, do it. Gotta book it though. He thinks you have to get a tickets and stuff. I don't know. All right. Tony Vu has a training question. He says, yo, training question. I've been dealing with piriformis pain for the past 2 to 3 months. I got CM in December. Would y'all train through it? I don't know what piriformis is. Someone asked me, so like I can't help you with that, but maybe someone in the chat can. Someone asked me the other day in a comment on YouTube, hey, would this shoe be recommended for someone that's post PTTD? PTTD? And I was like, you know what? I'm not a medical professional, so I can't really give you kind of like that kind of advice. Plus, I don't even know what PTTD is. So, yeah, I mean, I think it's an interesting spot. I would probably refer you to doctors of running because they are actually the doctors of physical therapy, but they are not your physical therapist. So they do have medical training, but they can't give you medical advice. But I feel like it's a difficult spot for a lot of people because it's like, I'm just a shoe reviewer. I don't have medical training. I don't know what is or isn't contraindicated for your medical condition. But also your medical professional is not typically well-versed in shoes other than telling you that the Brooks Ghost is a great option. You know what I mean? So it's like, I feel like Brooks pays a lot of money. I feel like to be like the, endorsed by like the American Podiatric Society. I made that up, but like, you know what I mean? Or like the American Chiropractic Association, if there's a such thing. And then they get to present at like their yearly conference or whatever. Here's why this shoe is optimal for your patients. And we hope that you'll recommend it kind of thing. I think that happens. I think a lot of brands do that kind of thing. And so like, unless your medical care provider happens to be a runner, it's hard to get good footwear advice from your doctor. And also you can't get medical advice from your local footwear enthusiast. It's tough. I don't know how to answer that for a lot of people. Kevin L says, Kofuzi, do you think a sub 20 minute 15K is fast for a 13-year-old? Also, have any of your Alpha Fly popped before? I think that it's a very good time. Whether that's fast, I think depends on what you're competing against. You know what I mean? So I think it's great. I think that if you're having fun running sub 20, then I think that's fantastic. That's about as much as I can tell you. My Alpha Fly has had not popped before. I've heard of other people's popping. Megan Murray says one of hers has popped before, but I've never had one pop. Eric Behrman says, Brooks Ghost, only if you're Cairo Scott Jurek. That's funny. It's your boy Scott Jurek. That account has been going hard against ultras lately. Does anyone know what that's all about? He just went on a tear for some reason, or what? I don't know. Mark Peterson says, we'd get so many people from our store, from PTs who told them they needed Brooks shoes. Yeah, I think that's where they're getting. I think that's how that information gets processed. Either that, or there might be like a physical therapist influencer who's like, hey guys, when your patients come in asking for what shoes they should get, you can either prescribe for them the $250 orthopedic shoes that your patients don't like, or Brooks. You know, I feel like it's it could be one of the other, or both, maybe. Shannon says, going back to the Dr. Maffetone Believe in the Drop podcast, whoever said the Dr. Maffetone Believe in the Wrong Drop episode left you feeling weird, I am right there with you. Anti-carbs and junk music hurting my training. Yeah. I think that Robbie took the interview in a way that was interesting to Robbie, which I think is also what was interesting to a lot of people, especially who are really getting into beyond just like the low heart rate training, but like the whole approach that Dr. Maffetone has, where diet and stress and sleep are big parts of his method. That's also the part where I start kind of like skimming through the pages of his book. I know that diet is a big unaddressed component of my training, and I'm okay with that. You know what I mean? So there's that. I think if I were to interview Dr. Maffetone, I'd want to take it. Here's where I had the problem with the Dr. Maffetone. Not just that interview, any interview I've seen of him and of his book, the Maffetone Method book. I forget what the book is called, but that book. I feel like a lot of time it's like, hey, I have. I think the question generally goes in the form of, yeah, but I think that this aspect of what you're teaching seems difficult to me. His response is typically, yeah, people are really individual, so you have to kind of figure it out on your own. I feel like that's the typical answer to him, to a lot of the questions. And so like that's kind of where I always feel like I need a little bit more. You've been doing this since the 70s. Can you give me a little bit more insight into some of your experience as to the variability of mankind in terms of responsiveness to heart rate training? So I feel like that's kind of where I always feel like I struggle with Dr. Maffetone. And that doesn't just because he answers questions poorly doesn't mean that his method is necessarily unsound, but it makes you start to question things. And, over the past couple of years, I've just generally been like, running easy days easy is good for training one system, and running hard days hard is great for training a different system. And make sure you're not mixing them up. Is kind of how I see it, But yeah. Tony Boo says, right, not asking for a medical advice, but maybe what is your philosophy on training through discomfort? I would say it doesn't affect my gait until mile 10, and then it's difficult to generate power. Yeah, I think that it comes down to, it depends on why you're discomforted. Because it might be something that you can train through, like shin splints. It might be something that you're going to make worse by training through, like a stress fracture. And I'm not a medical professional, but I feel like stress fracture and shin splints are kind of like two stages of the same thing, or can be. Maybe I'm misunderstanding those, but I think it depends. I've run through things before as I'm recovering from them. That's one thing, but like, I think hurting because like I'm running out of glycogen and it's the end of a race is one thing. Hurting because it's a threshold repeat session day and I'm out of shape is another thing. Hurting because my knee feels funny and I'm not able to push off of it correctly is a completely different thing. And that might be a good place to stop. That's kind of how I feel about it. If you can run till mile 10, keep it under 10 miles. That's kind of how I would go about it. But again, I think it depends on what's really bothering you. If it's bone problem, then I would say that's not a great idea. But I'm not an expert. I've never had serious bone injuries either. So that's why I really feel like it starts to get, it's like, once you start like thinking about that stuff, then all of a sudden, hey, now it feels like I'm giving him medical advice, David Zlotnick says, ER doc here. Who doesn't push Brooks? I trained through hamstring and piriformis training for my first marathon with pretty intensive physio and with time off initially, and it depends on the extent of the injury. There you go. Yeah, that's some advice. But David is not your doctor. He happens to be a doctor, but he's not your doctor. It's not medical advice. He's just saying stuff. Just trying to watch out for you, David. Making sure you don't get in trouble with your local medical board. Sean Devlin says, my PT usually says if the pain is 3 or less and returns to baseline after the run, you can typically continue. I'd say three or less works. It's pretty vague, but yeah, I'd say so. Eric says, pain is mile 60. Discomfort is mile 25. Maybe. Are we talking about all in one go? All in one go. I think all in one go. Yeah. Adam says, Steven Seiler and the guys at Fast Talk Labs, they're more cycling than running, but great endurance science, would say that you're working all of your systems at multiple effort levels. I don't think that's wrong. I think the systems overlap and work together. But I don't think, yeah. I don't know that, yeah. The way I phrased it definitely disagrees with what you're saying here, Adam. But, I understand that there's more nuance than the simplified way that I said it. That's true. But you're right. And Vietnam says, it's really hard to know the difference between fatigue pain and troubling pain when you're a newer runner. That's also true. That's definitely true. It's hard to figure it out. But I think that the advice that was mentioned earlier, does it go away after you stop running? And it's not that intense when it does happen? Those are some good signs. Ryan Flake wants to know, when is the World Championships? Starts next week. Not this weekend and not the following weekend, but the weekend. I think like the 20th is when it starts. I'll be there for the second half. It's 9 days this year. Last year, I think it was 10. It's 9 days. I think I'll be there for 4 or 5 days towards the end. Maybe 4 days towards the end. So that's when I'll be there. And Mark Peterson says, box. Let's get to it. All right. We got... I told you guys in the post about today's live stream and in the description of this video that it's snacks. So Skratch does make some of my favorite hydration products, but they also make some pretty good food too. They included a sticker. This is stuff that they sent to me, I think. Yeah, they sent this to me. And what we got is more flavors of this crispy rice cake. They're nice. They're not Rice Krispie cakes. That would probably be trademark infringement. They're crispy rice cakes. 3 flavors: salted maple and mallow. It sounds weird when you see the word mallow written out, like marshmallow, but just mallow. So the flavors are salted maple and mallow, strawberry and mallow, chocolate and mallow. I don't know if I've had these flavors before. I know I've eaten some of them before. I don't know if these are new flavors or what. But what I am particularly excited about these is the labeling that's on the top. They're non-GMO, gluten-free, dairy-free, peanut-free, and kosher. So we have a peanut allergy in the house, and my daughter has started running, as I mentioned to you guys before. And, I am now constantly, and not just now, but I have been for a little while, very concerned about, how do I, when she's on the bus to go to the track meet, I'm telling her, hey, you got to eat something beforehand, so, what do we do? So we do have lots of other, granola bars that are peanut safe for us, that we send her with, but, I think that, as she starts, she may or may not get to the point where she's running distances long enough where she needs to have gels and hydration fluid along with her for the run. But as that starts to happen, I'm looking much more at what are the peanut safe options for her. So when Skratch reached out and said we have these new flavors, and they sent me the graphic of the box, and I was like, ooh, peanut free, definitely send them. So there's 3 flavors here, so let's try them all. All right. First up, we'll do them in this order. We'll start out with strawberry mallow. Strawberry rice, crispy rice cake and mallow. I feel like this is going to be very sweet, but let's see. Cheers. This is nice. Salty. For numbers wise, it's 180 calories, 3.5 grams fat, 0 cholesterol, 100 milligrams of salt, 35 grams of carbs, and 2 grams of protein. It's good. I didn't get a really strong strawberry flavor till the end. It does have some icing on it. Maybe that's what gives it the strawberry taste. But it's very airy and it's not gummy or as gummy as like a Rice Krispie square is. It's a lot airier, and I feel like the puffed rice is puffier, airier on the inside. So it's good. I like this one. Vietnam says, "Are you going to make your daughter run with a GoPro too?" No, only if she wants to. She doesn't seem to want to at this point. I don't think she has a preference, but I am still working with her on a. That reminds me, I got to order another couple pair of shoes for her. A video for like kid size versus women's size for running shoes video. I probably need to get that out pretty soon, since. Her cross-country season starts on August 21st. So that's like 2 weeks away. No, less than 2 weeks away. So, yeah. Man Who Runs wants to know if there's added sugar, stevia, or sucralose. The ingredient, I don't know. Added sugars are 12 grams of added sugars. Let's see. There's marshmallow in here, which has sugar in it. And then the white chocolate flavored compound is sugar, palm kernel oil, natural flavor, sunflower, or lecithin, salt. And then the shortening, strawberry and sunflower oil. So I didn't see any stevia listed on here. But there is sugar in some of the other ingredients. I don't know what form those sugars are in. I'm admittedly not that great at reading an ingredient list for that kind of thing. I look out for peanuts. Pretty much is the only thing I look for. Let's see. Matcha says, it's crazy hard to find things without nuts. It definitely is. All right. All right, let's scroll down a little bit further. Let's go to the, I think this one's going to be good. It sounds delicious, and the packaging looks fantastic, very appetizing. Salted maple and mallow. Let's try it. This one doesn't have like the frosting on it like the other one did. It smells like caramel. Maple? Caramel. This one's nice. In the first bite of both of these, I just taste crunchiness. I don't even get a flavor at first. And then at the end, at the finish, I then start to get nuances of flavor. So the flavors are very light, which I think if you're packing this in your pack and running with it, I feel like that would be enjoyable for me. Plus, the thing that I like about this over, say, a stroopwafel, although I do love a stroopwafel, this, even if it gets mushed, is still going to be fine. If a stroopwafel gets mushed in your pack, you know, then you kind of have to, like, pour it out of the packaging and stuff. It gets harder to eat. This, I think, will survive a pack a little bit better. Maybe. I'm not sure. I'll have to check. Daniel Burton says, what's the cost? I don't know what the cost is. Maybe it'll say on this packing slip. Nope. Doesn't say. Sorry. I don't know what the cost is. Eric Perriman loves the caramel maple. X-Team Cuisine says, it's vaguely ASMR chewing. You get everything with this show. Yeah, one of the things that I'm really hoping that I have time for, I don't know exactly what my schedule is going to be for this weekend, but I'm really hoping that I have time to go to the Skratch Labs Cafe for a lunch or a meal at some point in Boulder. I just love eating there. Plus, there's Skratch Hydration for free. They've got like a keg thing of it. I don't think it comes from a keg, but a free like spigot, a draft thing where you can just fill up or bottle big as you want. Full of Skratch. And it's nice, and it's just a pleasant place to be. I like eating there. They have a really good tofu bowl. I don't know if it's the same menu. I think the menu changes. When I was there was a good tofu bowl. I don't know if we'll be there again, but I want to eat there again. Kevin Hong says, what about a roll of kimbap? Those would fit perfectly in the bottle sleeve of a hydration pack. I just feel like that would get mushy. And then or nori, like the seaweed wrapper, I feel like those that would get real soggy real fast. Just the humidity of being on your person, but I don't know. I'd love to see what like a Korean ultra runner puts in their pack. You know what I mean? Do they go with like these kinds of things? Is there does Lotte make a version of this? I bet you they do. Does Lotte still exist? It did when I was in Korea. I don't know. Yeah. Calvin says, do the Skratch beverages taste more or less watered down than when you make it at home versus the cafe? It tasted pretty much the same to me. It tasted like Skratch. And Momentum Unbound says, there is a Lotte near where I live. Okay, so it still exists. All right. Eric says each bar costs about $3.50 for a bar. That seems a little bit high. But I feel like the higher end bars that you buy are like $4 now, which is just a lot. All right. Oh, Sega Dreamcast says we have a Lotte supermarket close to us in Baltimore? There is? I didn't know that. Interesting. Vietnam says, I know a guy who runs ultras with Mackie cheeseburgers. Really? Does a cheeseburger travel well in a hydration pack? I feel like a burrito really would. You know what? I feel like if I could get one of those, what are they called? Like I have them at Taco Bell or just any place when you get burritos. A legit place. Not a legit. Like a Tex-Mex place or a Cali-Mex place. When they flour tortilla burrito and they put it on the flat top for a little while to crisp it up. A little bit of the clarified butter and then get it crisped up on the outside. Because then I feel like that would retain well if you got it on your person. We made like little roll-up sandwiches for us the one day on the Hut Run Hut. Did I tell you this story? So the first day, full day of Hut Run Hut, Ryan, the guy who drove the truck around, met us halfway at a lunch spot, at a halfway point. There was a little kind of like trailhead area. And he met us there and he set up the truck, had a nice spread where we could make little wraps. And we had lunch, and then we refilled our fluids. We ate some candy, some dessert, some fruit, and lunch. And the second day, in the morning, Ricky's like, hey, I'm setting out a little lunch area. Make your own wraps like you did yesterday, but make it. And that's what we're going to have for lunch today. And so I didn't realize. So I make the thing, and I put it in a little plastic baggie. And I'm like, Ricky, where do we put this? And he goes, you put it in your pack. We're going to carry it. And I'm like, oh, the truck's not meeting us today. I couldn't figure that part out. I thought maybe we were all putting our lunches in a bag somewhere. I didn't understand why we have to make lunch ahead of time. So I guess that's just my inexperience there. But that was nice. And it survived. I put it in the back part compartment, and it survived just fine. So maybe a kimbap would work. Maybe a regular burrito would work. You know. Yeah. Eric says pizza rolls. Are pizza rolls a good trail food? I don't know. I used to feel like for a longer ultra, the eating part would be my strength. But I think it would depend if it's at altitude, because I did not feel like eating very much when I was in Run Hut. Yeah, I just, the food was delicious. Especially anything with vinegar in it or like acidity, it just tasted gross to me. And I just didn't feel like eating it very much. I would have to force myself to eat, kind of. I did drink a lot of calories, but I had a hard time. I feel like I would like eating pizza rolls on the trail, but now I'm not sure anymore, you know. All right, let's get to the last flavor. Save the best for last. Chocolate and mallow. Oh, look, there's a you know what's funny about this? It says how to use on the back. And it says, as a starting point, eat 1 rice cake per hour during exercise. Eat when you need steady energy. I think that's an interesting way of, like, how to use. How to use? It's food. Open mouth and eat. All right, this one is a different color. Oh, nice actual pieces of chocolate chip. Chocolate, like it's darker color. This is the best one. Like the Rice Krispies are darker in color, indicating that they have some cocoa on them. And then there's also chocolate chips. And this crispy blend of rice, let me check, are all of them this way? I think they are. The blend of rice that they have is brown rice, red rice, wild rice, and red quinoa. There you go. Nice. Sean says, I'm always amazed by the stuff you ultra runners eat. I think I DNF. I can barely handle a banana or toasted PB for a long run. See, like, not that I ran an ultra, but for those long days in the trails, like, it's not that my stomach couldn't handle it. It's just like, you ever get to a race and you brought like 6 gels with you, and by like mile 20, you're like, I just don't want to eat any more gels. I've had enough gels. No more gels. That's kind of how I felt like it. I just didn't want to eat anymore. I was like, I know I need to eat. I don't feel like eating. I don't want to eat. It would sit fine. I just didn't want to eat, you know? Andrew Scott says the wild rice knows how to party. And Sean says, yeah, the last few gels in a marathon can be gross. You know, you just don't feel like eating them. There's nothing wrong with them. And you'd probably be fine if you took them, you know? And Sleeve Singer says, I remember you saying that in your Tokyo Marathon video. Mile 20, you were done with gels. I probably should have eaten one more, but I just didn't feel like eating them. So I think I am going to switch over to, since I train so much with science and sport, I think I'm going to switch to racing with some science and sport. Maybe I'll still bring some Martin gels as a security blanket. But I think I might do 3 and 3 science and sport, 3 Martin gels. I don't know. I think that might be better for me. Because I just have not been enjoying Martin gels. And my last couple of races, I just felt so terrible after the race. I'm trying to think, did I throw up? I didn't throw up after any of those races, last couple of races. But like after Tokyo, like I ate some food, I had a beer, and then I took a nap for like 2 hours, and I didn't feel like doing anything. It was hard. Lena says, you're going to need bigger pockets for the science sport. I know, that's only downside. But I did run in the Soar racing shorts. Did I say race? I ran in the Soar racing shorts. And those are designed to carry 6 science and sport gels because it's a British company, SOAR. And so is science and sport. And so they're like, hey, let's partner. I don't know if it's a collab or it's just, hey, we've figured out what size they are, but it'll hold them for sure. Calvin says, I love this science and sport beta gels. I've never tried that. I know they make beta fuel too, but it feels derogatory somehow. I don't know. It just doesn't seem right. I'm like, you gotta rethink that name. Beta fuel seems weird. They don't have alpha fuel, you know. So what? I don't know. I don't understand it. Manarun says, thoughts on UCAN gels? Science and sport with the freebies at the New York City Marathon route last year, and they didn't really agree with me. I think that if they don't agree with you, I think trying the UCAN is worth a shot. And I feel like a lot of the ambassadors or sponsored athletes usually have like promo codes for like sampler packs. And that would be the thing I would try, because then you get a couple of different, I think they give you like the sample pack usually has like 2 different flavors and then like a bar, because they have food too. And, it's a different kind of sugar. It's cornstarch, so it hits you differently. It seems like they've scooped up a lot of American athletes, which is great for them. So I think it's worth a try. It's something that I'm considering to revisit, since I'm like, I don't know, maybe I'm not loving the Martin as much lately, and I'm looking for other things. I like the science and sport consistency. Univet also has that consistency but Univet is still very, very sticky. Not that science and sport isn't, but like it has a little bit more volume to it, which I like, because then it's just a little bit of fluid, you know. I don't know, but I've just been liking it, so that's all. Calvin says, the beta gels are thicker in consistency, and the strawberry lime one tastes great. All right. Strawberry lime sounds disgusting to me, but I'll give it a shot. That'll be it. Maybe we'll do that for the next taste test. Eric says, all right, got to go. Heading up to Leadville, right? Meow. All right, Eric. Good luck out there. Have fun. I think Ultra Trail Steven's going out there. I don't know if you guys know Ultra Trail Steven. He collabed with me on a video. I think it was a Hoka Challenger review. I think he's running Leadville this year. So I know he's going up there. I don't know if he's running it or if his wife's running it. Can't remember. But he'll be up there. And Eric says, have fun in Colorado Springs. Awesome. Thanks. I think it'll be fun. Colorado Springs is higher altitude than Boulder, right? I'm still, my body still has a little bit of, it's a little bit gun shy, I guess. I'm very nervous about being back at altitude. I was just there. It was difficult. I'm going to bring a lot of Advil and my melatonin. I don't think that's going to help at all, but at least I won't have a headache. That's what I'm thinking. Eric says, yeah, Steven is running it. Cool. Ray Martin says, I don't ever hear runners talk about Hammer brand, which is more known in the cycling world. Really good stuff that's sugar-free. I like their gel and electrolyte powder. I don't think I've tried anything that's sugar-free. I've had their gels. I don't think I've had their electrolyte powder, though. I feel like Hammer used to be a lot more popular years ago with runners. I don't know what happened to it. I don't know. Vietnam says, I feel bad about all the packaging waste from all the individual gel packs. They do make, I think, is it Goo? There's brands that make like, it's kind of like a hydration flask, but it's smaller and you put like 4 gels worth in it. So if you make your own gels, some brands sell you like a big bag of gels that you can dispense into smaller reusable gel packs. There's that. And then Goo, I don't know if they're still doing it, but it was something they were talking about at TRE 2 years ago, where they were trying to get people in running stores. And let me tell you the idea, and I'll tell you why it's problematic or difficult. The idea was that they would put these boxes, basically like these fancy garbage cans, in a running store, and you would bring all your goo packs, your used goo packs, put them in there. They would take those goo packs, clean them, and then recycle that plastic. And then it could get formed into, what's it called? Synthetic decking material, like wood, like the plastic wood kind of stuff that you would use on a deck, like a patio. It could get turned into that. So like they were trying to get people to do that. I don't know if they still do it, if they ever did it, but it was something that they were trying to start implementing. So Goo is aware of it, and they're working on ways to make it less impactful. And then they also, I remember when they gave me a bunch of samples at TRE, they had used that same program to just take some packs and sew them or like heat press them together somehow into a packaging material. So they made a bag that I could use, and it was made out of old goo packets. So, yeah. AJ says, packing now for Portland. Bigfoot 20 on Friday. Oh, good luck. Awesome. Mark Peterson says, I'm lucky to have scheduled my workout the morning prior to flying to Colorado and my long run after riding home Sunday. There you go. Friday and Saturday are both like 5 miles. Minimal pain for this flatland runner. Yeah, have fun, though. I mean, just hurt yourself while you're out there. That's my approach to running in altitude. It's just like, I mean, I'm sure, I don't know if you've been running at altitude before, Mark, but just go for it. It's just like, I feel like if you haven't really been humbled by altitude running, I feel like you really haven't run at altitude yet. You know what I mean? Wojak Malkowitz says, hey, Mike, what's the one thing you don't like about New York City Marathon? The logistics. Getting to Staten Island in the morning is a pain, and then you have to wait around a really, really long time. I was having a conversation with some of the people I was running with at Hut Run Hut, and we're talking about New York City Marathon, and I'm like, I try not to be like a running influencer prima donna about things, but like I just don't know if I'll run New York City Marathon unless like New Balance is taking me, because then they had like a special VIP tent area that was like climate controlled, and we had our own bathrooms. Like we had a warm year, so it wouldn't have been an issue, but on a cold year, if it's like cold and windy, maybe it's even wet and raining a little bit, like you have to sit there for like several hours before your race starts. And so your day starts really early, and you have to be outside in the elements for a really long time at New York City Marathon. And then the marathon starts. And so that's the thing that I don't like about New York City Marathon. It's worth it, but it's the part I don't like. Okay. Let's see. Someone said it sounds like a logistical nightmare. Oh, I think you're talking about the goo thing. Yeah, collecting all the old packets. Sounds like a logistical nightmare, also a health code violation. Yeah, that's the part that I was like, wait, so I got to save all my used sticky packets and then bring them to you, and then you're going to have a container. I'm like, that's going to be covered in bugs. But I don't know. Maybe I should reach out to someone at Goo and see if that ever went anywhere. Mark says, we stayed in Green Mountain Falls outside Colorado Springs last summer for a different wedding, and it was like 7,700 feet. That hurt. Oh, man. 7,000 feet is a lot. Oh, boy. Yeah, it's almost 8,000 feet. If I'm at Colorado Springs and I'm trying to chase a world-class marathoner around with a camera, that's going to be painful. That's going to hurt a lot. It'll be fun. It'll be worth it. Hopefully it's at a track. Because when I was at when I went last year, I went out to Mammoth Lakes, and I was with Mammoth Track Club, and I was chasing like Nico Montañez, Cohen Naert, and Karina Vilkarn around on the track, and those runners are so fast, and it was really hard because that track I think is at like 7,900 feet, just shy of 8,000 I think, and like it's just instant winded. But the way that track is laid out, it's so nice. There's it's like built into a hillside, and so I feel like that takes a lot of the wind off of the track. So it wasn't super windy that day, so that was nice. But it's hard, and so if I'm like I have to mentally work myself up because I'm not in marathon training shape. You know what I mean? I've been just kind of running a lot, but just trying to keep up with Lindsay Flanagan. Not that I could keep up with anyone in their workouts, but just keeping up enough to film it is even going to be a challenge. And then if it's a road workout, then I'm going to have to like drive ahead, park on the shoulder, chase her for a few meters, and then hop in the car and like zoom past again. So that'll be logistically. I'm not sure what I'm going to encounter when I get there, so I'm going to have to bring a lot of equipment. But it'll hurt, but hopefully it'll be good content. Shannon says, I ran with Tina Muir a couple of weeks ago and told her you were bummed you couldn't make her cleanup run when you were in the same city for a race. She messaged me about that. She said she met Shannon. I'm glad that you guys ran into each other. Because I had told her the day before that we were going to go plogging together. Plogging is the term for jogging and picking up trash. I don't know why it's called plogging. I'm not a huge fan of that term. Because like I had the Adidas runners run that Drew and I were going to at like 8. I don't know if that was the time, but let's just say 8. And she said her starts at 9. So I was like, our shakeout run should definitely be done in time because it started at the same park. So I was like, we should be able to just run over from where we're at and we'll join you. And Drew and I were going to go. But the Adidas Runners event was supposed to kick off at 8. We didn't start running till like 8:30, 8:40. And so I actually did see her when we were coming back from our run. She was already out there picking up garbage and stuff. She got a lot. There was a lot there. So I was bummed that I couldn't go, especially because I said I was going to go, Sleeve Singer says, you got this, Co. After the mountains and that struggle, you should be fine. I'm still recovering from that struggle. That's the thing. That's the thing. I'm still recovering. So we'll see. Thanks for the vote of confidence, though. All right. I think that's going to be a good place to leave it for today, guys. Tomorrow, I do have I have one more package to open up, but I think it's one we've seen before. But I think maybe we can. They sent me another batch of stuff, but I think maybe we could try some flavors that I haven't tried before. We'll see what else comes in. But we'll have another live stream tomorrow, and then there won't be a video out yet. The next video that's going to come out, I think, is going to be a collab video. So I still need to kind of work on that, put some touches on it, and that'll hopefully come out Thursday. We'll see, but I'll see you guys tomorrow before that. Same time as today, 1 p.m. Central Time. In the meantime, be safe out there, everybody. Thanks.